I'm sure you guys are aware, there are all kinds of different review platforms out there, and a lot of them aren't just for reviews. So when you think of like a Yelp, that website and that platform exists almost entirely to review local businesses. But you have other types of reviews all over the place, Facebook, Google. I've even seen, you know, carriers will sometimes, when they have like your agent finders on them, like on a Nationwide or Travelers or anything like that, they'll have different widgets that either pull in Google reviews or in that map feature, all kinds of different stuff. So you want to be a part of it because you don't want to be left out. Biggest reason behind there. Yeah, next one, online business. So this is the most easy to conceptualize, I think. You have a 5-star rating, people are more likely to find you, right? That, to me, is the biggest reason why you'd want reviews in general anyway. You have you and maybe a couple competitors out there, and we'll kind of cover this as well, but if somebody is out there looking for insurance and they see you and you have no reviews and no star rating and there's not a whole lot of activity going on, there's a very good chance that that person, that searcher, is going to move on. They're going to go to somebody else that has a star review. And like we've just talked about a couple times, it's the online version of your referrals. So having those good reviews, having a depth of different consumers that other consumers can go and look at and learn more about your business from a consumer standpoint is going to help that end user decide to go to your website, which is the end goal, of course.
Yeah.
The next point, unless Greg, you have anything?
No, nothing.
Okay. The next point, the search engines. This is kind of the more technical aspect of why reviews matter. So not from the standpoint of, hey, I like this business, it's got a bunch of 5-star reviews, I'm going to go to it, is the actual logistics in the algorithm in Google and search engines and even some of the social media platforms out there. They factor reviews into their algorithm. So when we talk about, you know, content helps you rank and backlinks help you rank and all that kind of technical SEO speak that we give you all the time or you get from other companies like us, reviews are part of that. So the quality, quantity, overall rating, that goes into Google ranking you, especially in like the map section when if somebody's searching for, you know, we're in Columbus, so home insurance in Columbus, Ohio. If you have a bunch of reviews, you're more likely to show up in that map pack and in the search results page, which is what SERP stands for, is that little bullet point underneath search engine results page. I didn't want to get too technical, but also didn't want to take up a bunch of space. But those reviews will help you to rise up in the rankings, to show up when people search. Next point, bad reviews. So this is kind of a this is a threat, I guess. if you don't work on your reviews, what happens when somebody leaves a bad one? Most of these platforms don't have a great filter in place to they're not going to background check the review, or they're not going to filter through the review to see if it's completely crazy and doesn't make any sense. It's going to sit up there a lot of the time. Some of you may have experienced this when you have no reviews, and all of a sudden a disgruntled client decides to leave you a really bad one. And all of a sudden now your star rating is at a 1 or a 2 because you only had one other one. That's a problem potentially, because then if you're consumer B, the next guy who comes and looks for your agency and you all of a sudden you see one agency with a 5-star review and one agency with a 2-star overall rating, not review, just overall rating, you're probably going to go with the 5-star. I personally would probably tend to not really bother with the 1-star because barring some sort of unlikely circumstance, I don't want to spend my time worrying about that. So that's kind of the, if you have none to cover up the bad review, potentially you could be in a world of hurt. And then the 5th point, standing out. This one is it kind of bleeds into all of them, but it's kind of what I was hinting at the beginning, which is when you have, I know there's a lot of agents out there that don't really focus on reviews because you guys are running your own businesses, you have a lot to do with a short staff, if any staff at all. Some people are one-man bands, as we call them, but your competitors are likely similar. So if you can put the effort in, and we're of course here to help you with that, but if you can get those reviews, you're helping branding, you're helping look better than your competitors, technically in the rankings, and then also to the average Joe looking out there in the world for insurance. Amazon's kind of championed this, right? So their whole deal is they provide a platform for people to go look at different products, and then those products have reviews on them. And Amazon wants them to be legitimate reviews because they want the products to be good. So to stand out, you have to make a good product and you have to have good reviews. It's kind of the whole concept behind everything. All right, I know it took forever. I'm going to keep moving on. All right, so this will be we're going to go real quick into some numbers. Some of these are industry-wide from different surveys on different search engine and online marketing blogs, and there's one bullet point here that we actually did, or I did on the program itself. So direct business. This is when people, they see a good review, they go to your website, they get a policy. Great, fantastic. So a couple numbers to support that. About 88% of consumers use reviews to check the quality of a business. That's huge. It's a big number. 85% of consumers will read up to 10 reviews of the business or product. So we want to make sure that you get one, great, but you always got to keep pushing for more, because the more resources we can give to people, the more, I'm more likely to believe 10 people that give you a 5-star review versus one person that gives you a 5-star review. It's just, the more the merrier. Nearly 72% of customers say positive online reviews make them more likely to trust a local business. I mean, that's the whole point of reviews. I won't spend too much time on that. But they're all, they're big numbers. They're resounding numbers. Online performance-wise, so shifting over to the right column, this is the actual inner workings, the algorithm in Google and the other search engines. They mirror Google quite frequently. Reviews, the quality, the quantity, the diversity, et cetera, all of these different aspects of reviews, they make up almost 15% of Google's ranking algorithm for that local map pack that I was talking about. So when you show up in a map for a certain search product or potentially your own, the business name, 15% of that is your review, and 7% of it is the search results page, which is what comes below the map. That's pretty big compared to some of the other factors out there. I mean, there's any number of different factors that go into the algorithm, but these are a large chunk, and they're pretty easy to work with as far as they're free to get for the most part. You don't necessarily have to worry about paying for an ad budget or anything crazy. All right, so this last bullet point, this is a study I ran on probably about a fourth of the agencies on the book here at Smart Harbor. Agencies with one or more review, so just one. If we can start with one, great. Obviously, we want more, but and this is just on Google My Business. Almost 70% saw, or they had those agencies with one review had about 70% more total views of their Google My Business in Google. They had 82% more clicks to their website, and they had almost 78% more phone calls from Google My Business. This is all stuff taken from actual Google My Business, not the website, which is crazy because then they're interacting with your business, and they didn't even necessarily need to get to the website or like phone calls and the views. But it's a drastic difference, which I think is very important. Greg, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think that's just very showing. I saw these numbers a few days ago, and these are people that are not even seeing the website initially. They're bridging from the Google My Business listing, and they do have a presence with reviews. So this is only the start with just one review.
Exactly. All right. Awesome. Well, let's move on to tip 2. Greg, I'll let you take over for this.
Yeah, that was a great introduction, and it's really showing why reviews are important. So now let's dive into strategizing on next steps. How do we get these reviews? What's the best way to solicit these reviews from clients and from others? And so on the left side here, Well, I'll first start off by saying bad reviews are going to happen. People will find a way to leave a bad review, either on Google, Yelp, or a carrier website. People will, if they're that upset with service, they will find a way. But, however, people who want to leave a good review might not have that same courage or push to do so. So as an agency, you really want to push to make it as easy as possible for them and for everybody in the office. That's what really having this webinar is all about. So the left column here, good ideas to go about soliciting these reviews from current clients and even friends of staff at the agency, email campaigns, social campaigns over Facebook, LinkedIn, links in email signatures. That's a very, I know how many emails are sent in a day at an agency, so if you make it accessible for people to click something in your email signature, and then that links directly with the Google My Business listing to leave a review. Office displays, contests, asking. I hear about a lot. I hear so many funny contests that are done with clients. So that gives you a chance to be creative with clients. Bad ideas, though. There are bad approaches to getting these reviews. Writing your own. Generally, if Mr. ABC owns Mr. ABC Insurance Agency, you don't want to see that name leaving a review. So I would stay away from that. Paying third parties to write reviews, that's just not organic. That's not real. That's not who you are as an agency, and we wouldn't want to see that at all either. And Google does have a way of penalizing listings that participates in such a thing. So, and then fake negative reviews on a competitor's listing, that's obviously frowned upon. I would be pretty embarrassed because if I did leave that review, it would show my name. So just be smart about this, because Google reviews are a platform for the people. It's a people's platform. People are going to see this is the voice of the people. We want to be, we want to make sure we have a strong presence, and we don't want to spread any hate through this platform. So getting reviews, this is just walking the customer, walking the client down the path of leaving the review. So getting some sort of communication in front of them, whether it's digital, like I said, small banners, even in the office. Make it easy for them to realize that if they do, if they are satisfied with their service, they can do something about that. And it's really just holding the hand of the client, customer, leaving that review, making it easy for them to complete the review. Different platforms have specific rules. For Google, we're going to jump into those specifics later in this webinar. And with email communication, always remind them, say if you do have some sort of image in your email signature that does say, click here to leave a Google review, remind them, actually say that in the text of the email to say, hey, Mr. ABC, click below, you can leave a nice review for me. It takes a few minutes if you have a Google Gmail account.
Yeah, I think it's good, and I just have one thing to add. I think, and Greg, you said it earlier, but the people who are going to leave you positive reviews, it's going to be harder, obviously, to get them to leave a review than somebody who's out there with a bone to pick.
Yeah.
So, the bookending whatever interactions you have with them, with telling them about leaving your review, and then ending that interaction with, hey, just a reminder, if you liked the service we gave you, or like if you think we overperformed or underperformed, open yourself up to that kind of stuff, because people want to see you have a willingness to adapt your like to a bad situation or to a potentially bad experience for a client. So how do we respond? So we'll get a little bit into responding to positive and negative reviews. I'm sure that you guys may have questions. Hopefully we answer them. But some quick ideas. General review responses, positive or negative, right? Be quick if you can. I understand, of course, you guys have, many of you have not a lot of staff, not a lot of time, of course, but the goal with reviews is always to respond within 24 hours. A lot of the times it's as easy as just like getting, for instance, if we're talking about like Facebook, just getting Facebook Messenger on your phone, because you won't be getting a whole lot of reviews, especially negative reviews. Negative reviews are where you want to really focus a lot of your time, but do your best to be quick. There are platforms out there as well that have you can monitor your digital reputation managers, as it were.
Patrick, I have a question for you. Say if someone left a bad review over a year ago, is it, and now I'm just seeing it, is it okay to still respond? Is it okay to still respond a year later?
Absolutely. Like I said earlier, ideally be quick, but as I'm sure many of you are in that boat, there may be a review from a year or years ago that's just sitting there on your platform and is making it not look so good. You know, it's important to be authentic when you respond to reviews. So absolutely respond. Yeah. And you know, our second point will come into play here. Be polite. Never fire back. Even the general rules of engagement here are the same as if you were responding within 24 hours. But you know, be polite. Ask if you can help. Over on the end there, you can see try to explain yourself, but don't be accusatory. So maybe you'll run into the situation. I've seen this before where Diddy client didn't realize that their home policy didn't include a flood policy and their basement flooded or something like that. And they are understandably upset, and so they leave a bad review. That's when you can maybe kind of go in and be like, we're so sorry, like, please reach out to us. We'll actually cover like some more specific, responding in positive or negative, but one of the things you want to always try to do is if it's negative, get the conversation offline. So, you know, maybe try to understand that most home policies don't include a flood policy, but please like reach out to us. We can maybe go over some options, et cetera. And our other two here kind of we bookended that, but in the middle, it goes along with being polite, but remember that you're online. And the goal of a lot of these review platforms is so everyone can see the reviews and their responses. So fighting fire with fire is not the optimal decision here, because if you, as the agent, respond in a negative way, everyone's going to be able to see that. When you respond in a more upbeat, in a more professional way, a lot of potential consumers will see that, and they will basically realize that this may not be a two-way street. it may be an upset customer, which is fine. That happens. You know, it happens in business. But you fighting fire with fire will be there for them to witness. And then trying to follow up, positive or negative reviews. Following up is a great way to reinforce your brand and your business, yourself even, into the lives of your customers, so they continue to visit not only your website but your platforms like your social and your directories and all that kind of stuff, and that helps everybody. It helps your online performance, that helps your retention for your customer, that helps everything. So trying to follow up when you can on positive and negative reviews is extremely important. All right, so now we'll do some more specifics, positive versus negative. It's fairly straightforward. I covered a lot of it already, but people may not think to respond to positive reviews, and it's not the most important thing as far as the hierarchy of dealing with online reviews and your digital reputation. But in a perfect world, with all the time in the world, you would be able to do these kinds of things. So when you get a positive review, if you have time, say thank you. you appreciate it. It's helping you out, helping other customers out. If you can, you get into the mind of one of our content writers and maybe get some keywords into that response. Because it's on, a lot of these platforms are used as search engines. Obviously, Google, Facebook does the same thing. Any website out there is going to have a search function. So if you can get some keywords into your response, like we really appreciated helping with your unique home policy or something like that.
Yeah.
You have as small of a possibility as it is, there is now a possibility that you show up for somebody searching for home policy on that platform. Again, and that's just more free, that's essentially free advertising. And then invite the reviewer to do something like follow your social pages, sign up for our newsletter if you have it, check out your blog, check out your website. The smallest little thing will help drive all kinds of performance across the board, from SEO to social, again, all over the place. So if you, and then you ingrain yourself into that customer's life, and you, on the offline track, increase your increase the chances of renewing and increase your overall longevity with that client. All right, negative reviews. So this is important. Stay calm. I have seen some horror stories of people responding to negative reviews in a very similar way to the reviewer, which is not what you want. Understanding, we're basically circling around the customer always being right, and that will always be the case, even if they are not. I've seen many a case where the reviewer is totally off base with what they're saying, and they don't have a great understanding of insurance, which is understandable. They're not insurance agents, but then the agent responds in a similar way. Even I've seen crazy things even to the point of like attacking people's character. Obviously, you don't want to do that for the reasons I mentioned before. Everybody can see it. There is no chance for salvaging that relationship now. So, yeah, stay calm. Apologize for any inconvenience. Of course, that's just typical customer service. And then important, get the conversation offline as soon as possible. So a quick blurb. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to hear about this happening to you. We want to do everything in our power to make this right, to make this better. Please give us a call. Please email us, like, as soon as you can.
Yeah, and you even offer an email address or phone number in the actual.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely. Call us at number, email us at email address, because you're going to get that. First of all, there won't be any back and forth then, and if there is, you will not be responsible for it, so it'll look better in the eyes of other customers. But also, you're then going to get more into the nitty-gritty of that client-specific issue, and you may be able to help them. And then, again, you can increase retention potentially with a formerly angry client. Let's look at a couple examples. I'm not going to read all of these specifically. This will take forever, and we're already into it now. So, positive review on the left, and a not super negative, but sort of not overly positive review on the right. So let's look on the left, first of all. It's for I believe it's the Hard Rock Cafe, but it's a positive review about a restaurant. You can see the response here. So thank you very much for such a great review. We work really hard to offer the best food and best possible environment. She's fitting in a couple keywords. Fantastic. I'm happy to see that reflected in your last visit. She's making it personal now. I made sure that Jessica got the recognition she deserves. So you're calling out. She's calling out the client. The customer. She's making that customer feel like they did something. She's making that customer feel like they have made an impact, which is what most people want, especially online. That's why social media is so big, is because it's just people trying to get themselves to make an impact. But this is a perfect response. All right, over on the right here. Not so positive. It's not the worst thing ever. But I did this on purpose because it's got a couple positive and negative things. So it's positive up until the point, where they talk about it's a little overpriced. That's kind of the gist of this review. You don't have to read the whole thing yourself, but you can see the response down there at the bottom. Dear Cassandra, so glad you enjoyed the cupcakes, like our jewelry. It's like a salon that offers fancy like food while they're getting their nails done and stuff. Yes, our prices are slightly higher than your usual nail salon. Our stainless steel implements, sterilized in the autoclave, blah, blah. So there's keywords. There's an explanation as to why it might be a little bit pricey, and she's not. You can see she's not firing back at the client. She's agreeing with her basically. She's saying, yeah, we are a little bit more expensive than those other places, and here's why. And that helps you brand because you're branding yourself as she's a premium option now, right? She's a premium nail salon. So I think that kind of gives you a good example of how to respond to maybe a specific point in that review that I think is very valuable.
Mm-hmm.
Just for anybody, while we're kind of in the middle of it now, if anybody joined late, as Greg mentioned at the beginning, there is a chat feature for for the webinar up at the top. Should be up at the top of your screen. There should be a little blue bar somewhere. If you hover your mouse over that, it should pop up. If you have questions throughout this, please feel free to ask. If not, don't worry about it. You won't be that upset. But just for your information. All right, now let's get into some more specifics. So what platforms do I need to worry about? We talk a lot about Google. Obviously, that's probably going to be one of them. And you know, there's infinite out there probably, but we want to get you focused on a couple so you know where to spend your time and your resources. And this is, I mean, again, everything's different for every client, and I try to tell that to people when they ask me, like, well, what's the answer? There isn't an answer for a specific client, but this is probably as close as it's going to get based on the type of industry we're in, and how much time we have to deal with, how many resources we have to deal with. So there's three I want us to worry about: Google, Facebook, and Yelp. And not to skip around too much, but Yelp really, you only need to know about if you're in a big city or you live on the coasts of the country. Mm-hmm. Yelp, again, that may, you may, if you are in rural Iowa right now, you may have a great Yelp following, and that is fantastic. I encourage you to keep doing that.
Absolutely.
But it's just, we're dealing with odds here.
Yeah.
And that's why Yelp is big. Yelp is bigger for more retail, consumer-based things, but it has a decent following for financial services and insurance. But you got to kind of pick your spots with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at these three. We'll do why we care about them, and then maybe some drawbacks. And this is, like Greg mentioned earlier, the different rules of engagement for these different platforms. We'll kind of get into that a little bit here. Why do we care about Google? Volume. Obviously, that's where everybody searches. Everybody, they have 70%, 60% of the search engine market share. An incredibly large amount of people pass through Google every day. Search engine performance, it helps you rank in the search engine when you get reviews. And it's the easiest path of these three for a conversion. If you can get somebody to call you from your Google My Business or get somebody to your website, you've knocked out about 60% of the battle to getting them to at least fill out a quote form or to give you a call. Some drawbacks. The user needs a Google account. So if you do a campaign and you're trying to drum up Google reviews and you send them to some people that have never created a Google account, that's a pretty big impediment because then you'll have to maybe give them some steps to creating a Google account.
Also, one thing you can do within your agency management system is filter out Gmail accounts. That's a very easy way to find out, hey, who can I reach out to start receiving Google reviews.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and you can do that. I'm assuming most AMSs will allow you to do that just based on most of them exporting to at least an Excel sheet, and hey, if you need help with that, you can send it to us. We can definitely help you filter that around.
Yeah.
I've done that for many clients. Next point, multiple reviews from one IP address will have less value. What I'm getting at here every once in a while we'll have people, and this is a great idea, so I don't want to discourage people from doing that, but maybe they set up an iPad or a computer in the office, and they had people log into their account and they leave reviews from that specific computer. Those reviews will be they'll be weighted basically less than an organic review from somebody's phone or somebody's different computers across the neighborhood or the town. So the goal here would be, if you're going to do that, maybe focus on Facebook reviews. If you're going to have people, if you're going to have like an office display, or you're going to talk to people and they come in for a consultation, you want to try to push them for Google. You want to try to push them to their phones, or when they get home to leave a review. And then active Google users will provide more value. That's the same at Yelp. Yelp has the same type of thing. If you have somebody that's left a bunch of reviews beforehand, that review will be weighted slightly more than if you just decide you're pushing for reviews, and maybe you're reaching out to your family and friends, and you have a couple people, they just decide to make a Google account, and that's the only thing they've done.
They don't log in ever.
Exactly. They never log in. They never do anything in their Google account. It'll be weighted less. It's not hard to do things in your Google account. You're logged in. You're like looking at YouTube videos for music or for fun, or you're even on Twitter now. I think Google has Twitter. It's hard to not be logged into your Google account, but that is a potential impediment nonetheless. All right, Facebook. Volume, again, there's less than Google, but there's still a pretty good volume out there, especially because this is where, of the billions of people that are on Facebook. There's also there's a lot less blockages to different, to get to where you want to go. Facebook they've even come under fire for some of that in recent months with different things that they've done with maybe like the election or different news cycles. They don't filter stuff out, which is good for businesses because it means that they don't have to be logged into an account other than obviously their Facebook account. But like I said, it's the easiest for reviewers. It also helps performance within Facebook. So if somebody's searching in Facebook for auto insurance, which is quite possible, the more reviews you have, the more likely they are to show up, just like in Google. Some drawbacks: smaller correlation to direct business. It's potentially another step that a consumer has to take to get to that filling out a quote or a phone call. And they're less likely, Facebook, if somebody's on Facebook, they're less likely to be searching for a specific product or a specific type of insurance. The easiest path for negative reviews, they have almost no filters, like I said. So if somebody leaves you a bad review, there's not a great way to flag it. You can flag it, but Facebook is sort of notorious for having a not-so-great helpline. Actually, it's a non-existent helpline, but so there's the potential there. And it's not, you won't be in as many searches. It's just less, the search volume obviously is less in Facebook than it is on an actual search engine like Google. Moving on to Yelp. It's the most trustworthy. Yelp's whole business is predicated on, well, let me phrase it this way. It's the most trustworthy for the consumer, because a lot of business owners do not like Yelp for this reason. If anybody had a bad experience, they may highlight that to warn people. But Yelp's entire business model is predicated on reviews. So they have more filters, more intricacies to their algorithm when it comes to reviews. But they also have a lot of resources. So sometimes I've seen some clients will get, you can do like ad campaigns in Yelp that you have to pay Yelp for, and you can, you have all kinds of stuff. You can filter and flag different reviews on your account, all that kind of stuff. There's a few more drawbacks though for this. So the filter, they will heavily filter people that have never left a review before. So if you go out and you get a bunch of first-time reviewers, there's a good chance that almost none of them will show up. Geo and demographic. So like I was talked about earlier, you need to be in a larger population for Yelp to really be effective. Volume, less people on Yelp, that makes sense. Soliciting reviews is discouraged but not allowed. So to do a campaign to get Yelp reviews, you have to be very tricky about it. You have to keep most of the communications off of Yelp. You have to make stagger it so you don't get like 10 reviews at one time, because then Yelp will know that you're out there trying to get reviews at one point in time. And the industry, it's like I said, it's more based for some retail and restaurants and local retail, but the potential is absolutely there. I don't want to make you think it's not helpful ever. So we'll look at some just examples real quick with Greg.
So yeah, this example right here, we did a search for, this is a clothing store here in Columbus, direct search. On the right here, on the left screen you see where the circle is, that's the Google My Business listing. Reviews are circled right there. And you can tell that's, it pops. It's a quick draw of the eye. So that's what we want to create. We want to create that great first impression of the agency. There's the quantity of reviews there. High average, 4.4. And on the right, what you can see is the reviews actually have quality behind it. There's actual text behind each review. Each review has a story behind it. Justin Creech right there on the right, and then Jason Robinson. And actually you can see that Jason Robinson is a local guide. So his reviews are seen, they have higher influence. So reviews from those accounts, whereas Justin Creech, that might be his first review ever, and he might not log back into that Google account ever again. So reviews left by influential accounts are great to get. So the next example here, Facebook. So on the left side here, this is another store here in Columbus, Ohio. Great burger restaurant. If you're ever in Columbus, stop by. On the left side here, you see the home page of the Facebook page. The banner photo, profile picture on the left there. On the right edge there, you see the reviews average. And actually, usually when you load a Facebook page, it has a little snippet of reviews. So actually, if that left screen was scrolled down a little more, more or less,
it's a bad job.
Depends on the page. It depends on the page.
I also took this from 2 different Bear Burgers. You can see the 4.5 on the left and 3.6 on the right.
Yeah.
So you can see for that one.
Reviews here on Facebook are just as important. Usually Facebook reviews have a lot more juice to them naturally, because Facebook is something that a lot of people log into every day. They're more personally connected to it, so they want to have their voice a little louder on Facebook.
C, as another example, over on the right there, bad review. You see that little comment says, we'll be messaging you directly to resolve this. See, get them offline.
Yeah. And people are very easily going to see that too when they scroll through reviews. And then Yelp here, again, this is a review platform, so it's a lot easier to navigate, find good reviews, bad reviews. So it's as easy as just scrolling down. There's no clicking involved.
You don't need to worry too much about what these all say. This is essentially unreadable because it's so small. It's just to give you an example of what that looks like, it's just that scrolling. It's just a big, giant list of reviews on the home page.
So the last, tip 5 on getting 5 stars is starting out with Google, creating a permanent link that you can use as a business to share with others. Some of you on the line right now, if you do speak with me on calls, I have referenced to this a few times, but this is something that you can add as a hyperlink in your email signatures. This is a permanent link that Google gives you as a business.
This is important. I think this is good for all agents to know how to use this. There's multiple resources out there, basically, if you Google them, but definitely, I know this is probably looking at you like, what? But feel free. This is one of those things you can absolutely reach out and ask your relationship manager about how to do this and how to fit this into a campaign.
Yeah. So really, Google assigns a specific place ID to your business. This is something that's never going to change, and this is a link that you can forever use.
There's probably a couple quick hitting questions that we can cover right now. So you go to the link, you find the enter location box, you enter your agency location. For most of you, for all of you that have multiple locations, if you have multiple different storefronts, you can do this for any and all of them, but each individual time you go and do this, you just want to select the one that you're looking for. It'll have like the address on it, so you can pick, say you have a Cleveland, Ohio location and a Columbus, Ohio location. You just go do this twice. First time you could do for Cleveland, you type your name in, Smith Insurance Agency. They both pop up, select the Cleveland one. Next time you do it, they both pop up, select the Columbus location. As long as you catalog that somewhere, you know which is going where.
Yeah, and a lot of times, I tell a lot of agencies that, hey, this link, myself, I'm someone who has those sticky notes on my desktop. I save some information on my desktop, and this is a link that you can keep on those digital sticky notes, and in an email, you can easily copy and paste it. It's easy for you, but most importantly, it's easy for the end user to leave good words for the agency.
I just got a chat question.
Okay.
It says, is this a service you all can do for us? Absolutely. So the way, there's a couple, I'm going to treat that question a couple different ways. So this specific slide, absolutely. We can, what I'd probably have you do is reach out to your relationship manager or even our tech support line and ask them basically to do this. If they're confused at first, it's just because they weren't in this webinar. but they'll talk to us and we'll tell them what you need, and then we can absolutely get you the links that you're looking for. Or in general, that'll be the second way I answer this. Just managing reviews in general, it's part of what we do on your strategy team, absolutely. And we also have a couple different. We have a platform that we can use to actually, update your accounts and monitor your listings as well, which is one of our other packages we offer. So for more in-depth questions about that, you could definitely reach out to us, and we can give you more info about that as well.
Yeah, and anything with reviews, primarily for Google, Yelp, if you need access to those listings, this is something that either someone in the office has access to, or someone on our end does, one of the relationship managers that you speak with. So, again, access to listings, that's something that we also do for you. And replying to reviews, that is also something that we can do for you.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. We're nearing the end here. Yeah, I think we also will want to do at some point, and we can definitely have, probably will have some more webinar type things about this, but some actual technical training for reviews on how, handling them yourselves and having us help you handle them, all that kind of stuff. So that's probably a more to come situation. In the meantime, we're going to do a quick poll. We're kind of going to talk about. You may have stopped. If you stop seeing the webinar, it's okay. Don't panic. We're going to do a quick poll in the meeting right now. We'll do a couple quick polls. We'll have you fill them out. One of the first question is, would you like your relationship manager to contact you to help create a more detailed review strategy? It'll be something that you and your relationship manager talk about on a strategy call. We all sit within 20 feet of each other, so we'll all be working on that as well.
Absolutely.
And then there'll be a couple maybe other questions about interest in technical training for these review platforms, especially if you're, for instance, on our digital front office package, because you have access to that review platform or that review manager, I guess, as it were.
You should all see the poll in front of you now. Feel free to answer.
The poll is up. So we're coming to an end here. So if you wouldn't mind, please fill out the poll. If you have any other questions, absolutely send them in chat or ask your relationship manager on your next call or ask technical support.
Yeah, again, that support line is support@smartharbor.com. Reach out to them about, hey, I just listened to Greg and Patrick's webinar around reviews. I'd like to get in touch with my relationship manager on next steps. Okay.
And we also, so when you fill out this poll, if you have any interest in working on this with us, or whether it be, we're not salespeople, but if it's the actual platform itself, or just working on a strategy with your relationship manager that you would already have, we'll be, we can see who has interest, and we can reach out to you as well. Oh, and I'm also be told to make sure you hit that submit button at the bottom of the poll on your class filling out, because we see a couple people that are still in progress that may not have worked. All right, let's see. I'm going to look at the chat a couple more times. Awesome, looks great. No pressing questions so far.